Hi everyone, and welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Paul Webb, and I've spent the last 20 years in the industry helping the real people behind the scenes, such as engineers, contractors, and facilities managers, keeping buildings and sites running. So when I talk about software, I'm not necessarily talking about features or buttons. I more talk about growth and scaling and staying compliant and helping people and helping companies roll out best practice and saving time and money throughout their business. Look, I know what you're thinking. Here he is again, trying to flog us another feature, another app, whatever it might be. This session's not about that. This session is walking you through what I consider best practice for any company or any engineer using the mobile app. I genuinely want to help you save time and money using the app, and I believe I can show you how to do that today with some simple slides and a short walk through the actual app itself. So a bit of talking, a few slides, and then we'll get straight into the app and show you what all the fuss is about, or indeed show you what the ideas are around this. So here's what I know about engineers, and to keep it fair, I'll use my younger brother as the absolute classic example of an engineer. They hate admin. They loathe it, in fact. They don't want to mess around with slow apps, and they're proud of what they do, and they just want to get the job done right and move on. That's it, right? But here's the problem. Every time they scribble notes, snap a photo, and forget to upload it, or call in timesheets at the end of the week, or worse, bring them back to the office, you lose time, money, accuracy, and potentially miscompliance stipulations. That's where Joblogic Mobile comes in. It's not Big Brother spying on them. It's not an admin tool for managers. It's absolutely a field tool for engineers that just so happens to make your back office work a lot smoother and easier too. Engineers, what do they want to do? They want to get in, get the job done, and get gone. They want to spend less time on admin, and they want to have the tools that don't slow them down. That's it. But here's what usually happens on site, or currently in your processes. Handwritten, hard to read notes, which can be lost or rushed. Certs not submitted or scanned late, photos on phones not linked to jobs or sites, and hours manually written on scrap paper or sheets that are again hard to read. So what do you need, or rather, what do they need? They need one place to log in, snap, be compliant and complete. Your guys need tools that work the way that they work. They shouldn't be forced to change or adapt to a piece of software. They need to know that it helps them, not monitors them. So let's break it down to engineer speak. Let's speak about some of the benefits on the app, and then we'll take a look at it in action. Automatic timesheet login. Why, in this day and age, are engineers filling out manual timesheets, or worse, you're collating them in the office by taking all the completion time off the job sheets? As soon as an engineer accepts a job, logs travel, marks on site, they're building a timeline in your app. And by the end of the day, it's all there. It's ready for payroll, ready for job costing, and it's ready for your reporting, be it weekly, daily, monthly, whatever it might be. And what about electronic forms and compliance? Got to get a gas cert signed, risk assessment done, or van check done, right? Well, the mobile forms inside the app means no paper lost in the van, no waiting for someone to scan something in, and everything stored and accessible in the job history instantly. Let's quickly touch on asset management. Engineers can scan the asset, find it, log job, log work against it, faults against it, repairs against it, and compliant forms straight against the asset on site. You build a history automatically with no double entry. Of course, I can't finish this without mentioning AI. Now, there's one clever, and engineers love this, one little clever tool that we've given them inside the app. They write or they say or dictate what they want to say about the job. For instance, changed filter, tested okay, performance fine. The AI app then uses its intelligence to rewrite that short piece of description to something more legible and customer facing, where it would say engineer replaced filter unit as per maintenance schedule, test post installation and confirmed optimal performance, no issues observed. All that from those 4 or 5 words. It's kind of like giving them a PA, and your potential customer facing reports just went from basic and scruffy to professional in seconds. Plus, if you're not happy with the description that comes back, you can press your own AI rephraser in the back office and it will do it again for you. Lastly, and importantly, because I know you guys are thinking about this, let's talk about permissions and the simplicity of the app, because there's no point, A, you being worried about the engineers being able to do too much or see too many private things in the system, and B, you giving them an overcomplicated application. It needs to be simple, it needs to be fast to use, and it needs to give you the comfort that everything's protected that needs to be private. If you only want your engineers to see their jobs and nothing else, or lock them to just what they need, or if you want to hide prices or restrict backdated edits, then you can do it. It's done. It's in the app. It's in their permissions on their profile. Saving time and cutting costs. Timesheets auto-built as they go. Not Big Brother. We're not looking at them. We're saving them and you time. There's no double entry, meaning fewer mistakes. The back office gets clean data, importantly, fast. And what about improving compliance? Engineers fill out forms on site, certificates stored instantly, no scanning, no uploading, and forms can be made mandatory. So if you want them to do that quick vehicle check on a Monday morning before they get into their van, it's done. You want them to do a health and safety check on a particular site once a month, done. Ease of use. Clean interface, not overloaded. Permissions keep it even simpler. And even a quick complete option to make it a faster finish for them, if you allow that. And of course, smart features built in, as you'd expect from Joblogic. AI rewrites engineer notes into clean reports, scan assets and log against them on the spot, add photos, parts and expenses instantly. Okay guys, so that's enough talking and slides for now. You can see my mobile device is now showing, and this is my home page to my mobile app, the Joblogic Mobile App. So I'm just going to click on visits down the bottom here, and what this does is it brings me to my demo job. So I've just put one demo job on for us today, just so it's nice and clean and we can look at it and there's no distractions and you guys aren't asking me what everything else does. So we're going to go through what we kind of just talked about on the slide really. First thing I mentioned a few minutes ago was around this whole timesheet thing. So you can see my job here. I've got all my details. I've got my job number. I've got the dates and times and address. I've got hyperlinks to Google Maps or Apple Maps, whatever it might be, iMaps. I've got contact numbers, information. I've got a hazard icon up here, and that's just alerting me to something inside the site that I need to be aware of, which is a warning on here which says do not park on the road. So that little yellow triangle is just a little warning telling me there. But back to the timesheet points that I was just talking about. The moment I hit travel on here, the engineer is going to confirm when they accepted the job, and obviously when their new status is travel and when this is happening, and they'll hit travel to site. Now that's recorded their start of their travel journey to the site. Okay, so it's not Big Brother. We're not checking up on them. You know, you've got tracking and mobile device tracking and hardwire tracking, things like that people will sort of call Big Brother. This isn't. This is purely around true costings. So I want to know how long it took to travel. I want to know when they left to pick up parts, when they traveled back to install those parts, when they finished the job. I want the labor, the travel time, everything. Okay, so that's all that is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you everything on site. Okay, guys, if I tap the job, I can go into it and I can start looking at what I've got permission to see. So this account is permission to only see kind of like the basics, if you like. I haven't logged in with my admin account showing everything on this first screen. So I can interact with the job before I get there. Because obviously if I have to abort it, if I've broken down, whatever it might be, if I have to abandon travel because you guys are sending me to more urgent job, I can do that. I can look at notes, I can do anything I want, but we'll cover these once we get to site because it just makes a little bit more ease of training, if you like, ease of this webinar. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the next logical step, which is arriving on site. So just click there. You can see I've not moved, so this mileage is based on the Wi-Fi on my network. So that is real-time mileage based on your GPS. So when they move, when they travel, it calculates it. So once I'm happy with my status, I'm just going to hit save here. Now this is where my job here comes to life, and we're going to talk about the points that we were just making on the slide. So we're not going to go through everything. I'm just going to show you what I believe is best practice, what I believe that every customer of Joblogic should be doing with their mobile and get the most out of the mobile app. Okay, so let's click on the job and go into the job. And now you can see I've still got my warning about the parking up here. I've got all my information up here in the top section of the mobile, but you can see that my buttons, my options here have now changed. I can't abandon travel, obviously, clearly, because I'm on site, but I can leave site and I can still abort the job if it was dangerous or whatever it might be. Now, down the bottom here, this is what I call a kind of like the action section for the engineers, for your guys out there doing it. And these buttons here are based on my permissions. So I can have more than this, or I can have less than these buttons. But I thought this would be quite a nice selection to show you guys today. So I've got an information button here, which you can see if I click that, it just tells me that the asset I'm about to go and see is in warranty. So that's cool. I can see it's a Worcester boiler and that's in warranty. If I do click on assets here, I can see that I've got a warranty in place, the Worcester make and model, and the location of it as well. So we'll come back to that in a second. So I'm now on site. I'm now going to begin to interact with the mobile device. So what I can do firstly is I'm going to put a little note on here and just tell the office that I couldn't get a parking space and I've had to park on the road. So if I just click on add new and I go to my box here, now because this is obviously a smartphone, I can use my microphone, click on there, say I couldn't get any parking on the drive as promised, so I've had to park on the road. I don't know if that means we're going to get a fine or what, but yeah, I parked on the road. So you can see this hasn't picked up my strange accent on the last bit here, but this is the rephrase or the AI rephrase button I was talking to you guys about earlier as one of the kind of cool things that I would be using if I was an engineer. And if I press that button there, you can see it's rephrasing it for me here. And if I'm an engineer speaking it in and wanting it to sound a little bit better, I can just say, well, I want you to use that. And you can see I was unable to park on the drive as previously arranged, so I had to park on the road. I'm unsure if this may result in a parking fine. So it's a little less aggressive than my version, if you like. I'm going to save that there. Alright, so nice and straightforward. If we go back, I'm back to my main screen again here. I can add site notes if there's any kind of lock boxes or security or whatever there might be. Obviously there's tasks if we're doing services and so on. But the next thing I would probably talk about adding to the job would perhaps be a before I start picture. picture. So we always say the best practice is to capture a before, a during and after photograph, because that protects the engineer, protects your company and protects the customer. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a picture using my attachment button here. So if I press attachments and then click add attachments, I'm just going to put in their area of work, at start, something like that, and then I'm going to click add file. And what it's going to do, guys, is going to ask you if you want to take a photo of where you are right now, photo and video library, or you can actually select a file from within your smart device. Now I took a few photographs this morning just to help us get through this bit a little quicker, so I'm just going to say at this instance I'm going to choose photo and library, but normally your engineers would choose the take photo. Just go into my gallery, I suppose, here, and I'm going to take this one here and hit done, like so. And I'm going to hit save. So now what I've done is I've captured a picture right at the start of the job, and it's going to, as we said, protect the engineer and the customer and yourselves from what was walked into, I guess. Okay guys, so with the interest of time, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fast forward and say, right, he's the engineer's fixed this leak to the boiler, and he's going to put his job report, his job notes, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put those into my notes section here. Click on notes, and this is where we encourage him again to use that microphone, use that speech to text, and then use a rephrase if you're not happy with what your microphone's picked up, because the text to speech is all based on your device, so the more you use it, the better it becomes. So if I just click on there and then click on my microphone here, I attended site and found a pinhole leak on a flow pipe leading to a boiler. Pipe was weeping from corrosive damage around 15mm copper section, approximately 20 centimeters from the boiler connection. Isolated the boiler, drained down local section, cut out damaged section, installed 15mm copper pipe and using 2 compression elbows. All joints tightened and tested for leaks, refilled the system, bled the radiators and brought boiler back online, observed system pressure and checked for further signs of leaking. So if I stop that there, you can see I've got a couple of it's recorrected them, that's fine there. But if I press my rephrase up here again, it's going to do my little rephrase for it, and then I can say use this, and it just makes it a bit nice and tidier up there, as you can see if I'll click on save, like so. So nice, easy speaking in, no clumsy typing with your fingers, and a nice little AI engine just making it sound all nice and professional. Okay, so what we'll do now, guys, is we'll go on to the kind of third thing, which is the mobile forms. This is the real strength of our mobile app, all those kind of compliance and accreditation certifications, you have to carry out. We'll do a gas safety cert next. Okay, to start, we'll go to the mobile forms section at the top here. I've clearly left too many on for this webinar, but you can see in red straight away this one is required. So if we tried as an engineer to leave site or finish the job, this would pop up automatically and say you've got to complete this first. So we'll just click on gas safety cert in there, and we will add a new one into here, simply answering the questions as you guys normally do on the sheets or other software. It's a domestic one, and we're going to click and add the appliance, and we're going to go make, it's the Worcester, so that's put that in there for me, and I'm just going to type combi in there like so. Is it a landlord's appliance? No. Has the appliance been inspected? Yes, it has. And I'm just going to answer these questions so you don't have to listen to me talking. So let's choose room sealed there, operating pressure of say 1.5 bar there, heat input required, yeah, let's just put that in there, let's put 24, and that'll be kilowatts. Combustion analyzer reading there, let's just put something forgive me guys if any of these answers aren't perfectly correct. A bit rusty on this. We'll say yeah, device is fine, that's fine, flue is fine. Obviously guys, if we press fail, it's going to ask us to do a defect report, but again I know we're up against time, so I'm just going to fly through these and say everything passed. Was the appliance service? Yes it was. And was it safe to use? And you can see our defect section here. If we'd have pressed fail on any of those, it would have took us straight into there, no choice on that. Whoops, told you I was rusty. Let's get these filled in quickly here. CO2 around about 9, leave that there, and the low combustion reading will go 25, the CO2 about 8.5, and the ratio about 0.00030. Let's try that again, shall we guys? There we go. So that's our Worcester inside the airing cupboard. We've added the appliance, we've carried out the service, we've gone through that first part of the GSR check. Obviously we can add smoke or CO heat alarms etc. in this section using that blue button there, or we can edit it or delete it and start again because it's still in active mode. It hasn't been passed, it hasn't been signed off. So we're going to click on next, and then we're just going to finish off by answering these. Again guys, I'm just going to say that these are all good. It's not rented accommodation. Yeah, that's all been good, and we'll just say pass there. And the expiry of the gas certificate would be, let's just say there and there and there. Click on next, and we'll get the customer to sign this. So we'll say it's the homeowner, and we'll say Mrs. Fairfield, sign this here, and sign like that. And then the engineer will get asked to sign it, and click on next, and that is our completed GSR gas safety record, all done, ready to go back to the office. So that's me back at my job screen guys, and before we finish up on this part of the webinar, I just want to click on the mobile forms button at the top just to show you the sort of variety and the kind of the number of forms that we have just in my permission base. This is just my demo account. This doesn't show me every single form, but this is one of the kind of huge pluses about our mobile software, is we have literally hundreds of forms and cover virtually every industry. So I know we went through a gas safety certificate, but there are numerous amounts of forms that you can get for every industry. So I'm going to click on details here. Bit of a recap. So I know when we talk through this, it feels like it's a little bit long, but let's just recap on exactly what we've done. Okay, we got the job, we travelled to site, we arrived on site, we put some notes in, we did our job, we took some pictures, we put more notes in using the AI and the voice to text feature. We checked on the assets. We know we can add expenses and parts and invoices, but I'm not going to cover that on today's. So it literally is minimal clicks. For your guys on the road, it is literally minimal clicks. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just finish off now by pressing complete. So I'm going to check my date, don't need any parts, don't need any expenses in this instance, and hit continue. It's asking me if the issue is resolved. Now this is a really good feature inside the system, because if we say no, then on the next screen we're basically going to have to say why. Why is this issue not resolved? Why couldn't you do this as a first time fix? And then what it does back in the office is it alerts people in that bell that you see in your Joblogic back office in the top right hand corner. It alerts them there that there is a job that needs attention because it couldn't be finalized, couldn't be completed. But for this instance, I'm going to say yes. Any recommendations? No, nothing on here. I'm not going to mention the asset or anything like that. And then it's whether I want to add notes to the notes I've already put in. So I've already put in my notes on the job itself. So again, I can come in here, press my microphone, and I attended site, carried out fix to pipe and gas safety certificate as instructed. Please see notes on job for full details. Then I can hit save, and that's all done. It then gives me a rundown of the times on the job, so as the engineer I can double check everything, and this is what's going to contribute to my automatic timesheet there that we've spoken about. Click on next, and then I can get the customer to sign. So if I just put Mrs. Fairfield here and put owner, and then get them to sign like so, and then of course the engineer's signature goes at the end there. These are time and date stamped as well, guys. All the signatures are auditable, so that's all good for you there. And save that, and that's my job complete now. The last thing I'm just going to mention, I've got a travel home button, so for those of you that want to capture the travel time and distance from site to the engineer's home, you can do that. Okay guys, so that's the end of the workflow walkthrough. As I said, it's a quick run through. I haven't been able to show you every feature because we don't have time on these sorts of things, but I'm hoping you can see how by applying best practice in this workflow just on the basics of traveling, arriving, doing the job, taking the before, after and during picture, carry out my electronic form, take pictures of the asset, get it signed off. I can drop expenses in. We all know, those bits we didn't speak about. Get a signature and I'm done. It literally is so slick, so easy for the engineers to use. Okay. Right guys, let's move on to the last bit. So we're back in the job now in the back office as we started. And what I want to quickly finish on is by showing you everything the mobile does for you in the back office. So obviously using our sort of action tabs up here, if we look at firstly at the asset screen, you can see the asset has moved from the site asset into the job asset and it's now completed. So that will be time and date stamped on the assets record. We've also got the cost screen, and what you can see here is I've got a selling rate of domestic rate which applies to this customer, and because of that it's worked out the labour. So I've got a cost of £18 here against the engineer's record. That's what it costs my business to send the engineer to the job, and the selling rate of £45 based on the agreed domestic rate. Same for the travel for the engineer, and the mileage, as you saw I didn't put any mileage in, but it's still 60p a mile cost there, and I've got my call out fee of £65. We didn't use any materials expenses, anything like that, but you can see I've got a total cost of 116 and a total sell of 350 at the moment. The profit is a minus 116 because I haven't issued any invoices against it. All this is all editable, so whatever comes back from your mobile, whether it's costs, whether it's notes, etc., you can edit any of it in the back office with the right permissions. I've got my visit tab next to the cost tab here. This shows me the engineers that have worked on this job, and I can go into each individual engineer record or visit record, and I can see the signatures, the time and date stamp signatures. I can see what forms have been carried out, so GSR on this one, any notes, etc., expenses, and so on. So let's just jump back to the job real quick. Last couple of bits, just look at the notes section here, and you can see all those notes and photographs we took have all dropped back into the office for my back office staff as well. Okay guys, there is a shortcut to the forms logbook here, which we can see our gas safety certificate there is nicely housed inside the forms logbook, and we've got the generic forms logbook here. So the forms logbook against the job is for the specific job, so any form filled out for that job, whereas the forms logbook on your main menu here is for every single form in your system. Okay guys, so I just wanted to wrap it up by showing you everything inside the back office, and yeah, what it actually does and how it benefits and streamlines everything in the back end. Now that you've seen it in action, I hope that it's starting to click. This isn't about making your engineer's life more difficult. It's about making their lives and yours far easier and more streamlined, and following compliance and best practice steps. One of my customers in Sheffield, 12 engineers, started using mobile app around about 6 months ago. Since then, They've saved 2+ days a week in total on admin, cut down missed certifications and lost notes, as you'd expect. And timesheets now run like clockwork, which means finance are happy, which is always good, right? And the engineers, well, they actually like it. It doesn't slow them down. Was there resistance at the start? Of course there was. It's inevitable. It's change, and change needs to be managed. But now they're reporting to us, and their data tells us the engineers are using it perfectly, and they're really happy with what it does. So look, if you've not used the mobile app yet, or you haven't used it properly, or just dipped your toe in, just give it a go. But give it a real go. Manage the change. Set timelines. Set milestones. Set a particular customer as a dummy run with it, but make sure you give it a fair chance. If you're unsure where to start, reach out to your CSM, reach out to your account manager, or ping me and I'll point you in the right direction. We can help you get this off the ground really easily. And if you do, we'd love to hear from you in a few weeks. Let us know how it's going, how it's been received, what differences you're seeing in the office, the gains you've made. And that's really good to know. And something you should do at the beginning is mark what you had before and then measure it. Measure the changes, measure the gains that you get through implementing the mobile app. Again, thank you for your time. And if you need any help or advice on this subject from Joblogic, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks a lot, guys.